Ride with me this morning, babies. Hey, it's Tuesday. My last day at work this week, therefore, super early recap and preview. I know lots of you like to listen to the preview, and this is the only day that I'll be able to do it. So, we're going to bring it in here. As always, brought to you by the Tesler, Adler, and Whalen Law Firm in bright and shiny Noblesville, Indiana. They can do pretty much anything you need them to do from a lawyering perspective, rivaled only by Benjamin J. Freeman, who is another fantastic lawyer who maybe, could be stronger in some areas, but certainly Tesler, Adler, and Whalen, when it comes to you want to get rid of your dirt, you have things in your closet that you don't want to come out, hit up the TAW law firm, Almost Evans, and they can certainly take care of you. What I thought we'd do today, let's just go ahead and take a look at, I think it'd be beneficial perhaps to look at this week's scores because it's easier to kind of break down the teams. So I'm going to try to do that. We're going to try to take a look at the standings and then real quickly maybe preview this week. But just because this is the way it shows up on my end, first matchup is the McClung standoff here, not to be confused with a Utah standoff, which is not the same thing. I survived Antonio Brown because the rest of Luke's team just really did nothing. I had a couple guys do Jack Diddley for me. But it came down last night to Luke needed big games out of Coleman and Hooper, and Coleman got him a touchdown. Seattle's defense was bad. Crazy game last night. It seems like Atlanta starting to play a little bit better, back-to-back wins over Dallas, and then Seattle certainly pretty impressive win there. But for my team going forward, I'd really like to get Jameis Winston back because Matt Stafford has some tough matchups. I like where my running backs are. Kind of regretting the Mark Ingram trade. But Luke's team, it's pretty safe to say he's probably now eliminated from the playoffs. Antonio Brown's going to continue to have a different body part every week and try to carry that team. It's just Luke's not going to have enough points. So officially eliminated according to this guy. Mighty Midgets went nuts here, 143 bomb, and this was a team that, gets 46 out of his defense and kicker. Brandon Cooks kind of felt like it was a Brandon Cook spot. Just some of the injuries they have there, some of the guys not playing. He was due 6 for 131 and a touchdown, something along those lines. Obviously not exactly correct because the .9 wouldn't make sense there, but Travis Kelce does what he does. And this would be interesting for Adam. His team was actually trending in the wrong direction. Adam Brandt, that is, AB, the Mighty Midgets. But the improved play of Matt Ryan and the Falcons, as well as Travis Kelce, Brandon Cooks, and then he's got some explosiveness there, maybe with Deshaun. Adam's a team that needs one more win to get in the playoffs. So he's looking pretty good. Then Adam Foster just kind of ran into a buzzsaw this week. Again, he's without Devonta Freeman. His running backs really didn't perform the way that they generally do. Adam did get a bunch of points out of the Chargers defense, but Tom Brady, good to see, put up the 31 in this one. Really, the passing touchdowns in the game where Brady wanted to be selfish. He was, and he deserves that. They've had a lot of rushing success this year as well, but DeAndre Hopkins, as I kind of forecast, is still a top 5 fantasy receiver. Despite the bad matchup with Patrick Peterson, he got his, so that's impressive. And then Michael Thomas, just another solid game. So Adam, I don't think your team is really clicking, Adam Foster, but again, one of those teams that will be getting a bye, so you have some time to get healthy. He's going to get Greg Olsen back, and that's going to make a big difference, especially with Kelvin Benjamin gone. Cam's just going to pepper Greg Olsen with targets, which will be interesting to see how it impacts Funchess, and then certainly Christian McCaffrey. But Carolina on bye this week. They'll be back next week. No more byes, guys. It's a good Thursday slate of football as well. 3 football games for you to enjoy there. Make America Gronk again and the Butt Buddies. Butt Buddies eliminated from the playoffs with their loss this week. And then just taking a look at MAGA. Not his highest scoring week. MAGA's played impressive defense this year, not to take away from how good this team is because he has a fantastic team. But the most points he's given up this year is 96. So there are lots of teams in this league who have given up over 100 4, 5, 6 times. And part of that is he doesn't have to play his own team. But kind of a layup here against the Butt Buddies. 101.9 total. enough to take it down here in a battle for that first seed with Foster's team. Some things just to take a look at here. Mark Ingram again is just killing it. You know, I mean, a guy who was on my team, a guy I drafted and was ridiculed for overall 5th running back guy, and it's just it's impressive what New Orleans is doing this year. They're playing defense and running the ball, two things that generally you don't associate with New Orleans and Drew Brees there, but maybe the best team that they've had certainly since they won the Super Bowl, I think. So New Orleans definitely a force. In this game they were down 17 or 20 points, came back and won. So and they did it on the back of their running backs like they have been doing. So love Mark Ingram, Leonard Fournette. A little bit worried with Leonard Fournette. Just a lot of things going on with him, and he was somebody who I've said on this exact show might be the best running back in the NFL. But a little worried about that, and then also a little bit worried about the upside of MAGA's receivers. But you're going to have better weeks from Gronk, and I think these running backs for MAGA, again, as we've said every week, are just very good. And again, if your weaknesses are Mike Evans and Dez Bryant, then you got a pretty good team there. Sure, he's excited to get Cam Newton back. Derek Carr just not getting it done this year. A lot of guys really liked him. I never really bought in, but I've been wrong on a lot of things this year as well. One of which is Carson Wentz in Philadelphia, probably best team in the NFL. You got them. You got New Orleans, New England. A lot of power. It's kind of top heavy this year. 3 or 4 really, really good teams, and then just not much else. I like the way Seattle is looking right now. They're just their secondary's banged up. They were without two of their starting corners last night, so I think they win that game. But yeah, you don't see them lose at home. That was now Russell Wilson's first loss on Monday Night Football. I believe they said also, in addition to being 5-1 on Monday Night Football, now he is something like 22-3-1 in his career on primetime, in primetime games. I mean, that's just crazy. And they're good. But certainly that loss was not on Russell Wilson last night. The dude just is a whirling dervish, just spinning around in circles recreationally. And he's just a lot of fun to watch. I really like Russell Wilson as a human being, too. And I like his wife. Sierra got a great personality. Simply simple, you're going to need one more win. So we'll take a look at the scoreboard and see if that's going to come this week. As we kind of discussed, Todd Gurley was not in an ideal spot this week, and I did get this one correct. I did think that Minnesota would blow this game away, and 24-7 is pretty one-sided there. So Theodore, better weeks ahead. This just wasn't a good time for him. Marshawn didn't get that touchdown that I thought he would get, and then just the rest of Tyler's team, uninspiring performances this week. So he's going to continue to need Wentz and Gurley and Lynch to carry him to wins. Just going forward. Injury bug is eliminated, so we don't really need to discuss that. Next up, we have Shake and Bake against Hide Your Children. And as forecasted, Hide has a good team. They just haven't really performed. And even in this one, you see, he gets 45 points. There were a bunch of just crazy, absurd scores from defenses this week. 45 from his defense and his kicker, a large reason for that massive total of 130.9. This is the best Michael's team has performed this year. But he did play both Minnesota running backs, which ended up really working out for him. Got him 28 points there, basically. Julio Jones in a high-scoring game without Richard Sherman, he's just not right this year. And he'll probably get right this week because I play Michael, and Michael's already defeated my team. But you just notice there he has 1 touchdown this season, and that's Mohamed Sanu is really the guy that I think is healthy and that Matt Ryan really likes to look at. So I'm very terrified of this combination next week. I will play Michael in an important match for both of us, and they're up against his Seattle guys are up against the 49ers. Looking at Jesse's team again, he's got to get another win. And not a terrible total this week. Kirk Cousins went bananas. Apologize to Kirk Cousins. I hated on him hard in this spot. I didn't think that he had that in him. And he certainly did. But then again, he didn't win the game. So paper stats are nice, but that's why Kirk Cousins is not an elite NFL quarterback, because he wasn't able to hold on to that lead, and a lot of that is on the quarterback because he touches the ball every play. So you might say, hey, we were up this much, maybe you got conservative, but Kirk Cousins just isn't a primetime player. Great fantasy option for Jesse this year. Alex Collins just getting it done. He's been very, very good here in spots where he's had good matchups, and that certainly was one. Rex Burkhead, Michael Crabtree, Gold City. Yeah, just kind of a down week for Jesse. Alshon's getting hot. Okay, Alshon Jeffrey's starting to heat up a little bit here. 3 weeks in a row now with very good games. So he's somebody who Jesse's going to need the ceiling of in one of his last 2 matches to get in the playoffs, because Jesse needs a win. Jesse needs a win. Lollipop Guild here was able to put up a bunch of points against Nathan Sucks Nuts, and this was a big game. And I do think I did call Jason the lock of the week. His team is getting better. He finally got Drew Brees in a ceiling spot where he can get him some more points there. Didn't need them all, but again, Jason got a bunch out of that initial start with the Steelers kicker, Chris Boswell, and the Steelers defense on Thursday Night Football. Jason's team, it's going to be really interesting because I foresee maybe 1-6-7 team getting in the playoffs, and Nathan Sucks Nuts and Lollipop Guild have more points, for instance, than my team and Michael's team. So you'll kind of notice that 6-7 could get it done, but it's not going to get it done for all of us. It's going to be that team that scores the most points. So this was a big week for Nathan Sucks Nuts, not only because of the loss, but because look how many points Jason's team gained on him. And Jason's team kind of getting hot at the right time. We'll take a look at the standings real quick, and then I'll just try to give you an idea of at least what the matchups are this week. So here you can see log jam here at 5-6. There are 4 teams that are 5-6, 3 teams 6-5. But the really thing to take advantage of and to pay attention to here are the points for, because again that is the tiebreaker. So looking at some of these teams that it's a stronger 5-6 and it's a stronger 6-5. So for instance, there you see Jesse's team not with a lot of points, which is why he's going to have to get to 7-6. To be safe, and that may not even do it depending how this shakes out. But I do think that one high-scoring 6-7 team can get in, but it's going to be really interesting. So take a look at those points for, and especially if you're one of these teams trying to decide between who you want to play in certain spots. Think about what your team needs. I mean, how many points do you need to beat out some of these other teams to get in the playoffs? Because it's going to be decided on points for, one way or another, whether that is 7-6 or 6-7. There will be multiple teams with the same record, and it's all about the points for. So this week, this kind of, and I know lineups haven't really been updated here, but Juice Me Up is up against Hide Your Children. And this is pretty much an elimination game. My team next week, I play Adam Foster. I believe Michael has a challenging matchup as well. I want to say he plays Make America Gronk again, but I'm not totally sure there. So this is going to be a big one. I think both of our teams have some guys in good matchups. I do not like my quarterback situation this week playing against Minnesota. But anyway, then we have Make America Gronk again in the Butt Buddies. I think we know what's going to happen there. Simply Simple Victory in Lollipop Guild. Another one. This is just huge. Got Jason a couple weeks ago thought he needed to win out, and this is going to be big. And what this does for the other teams that are 5-6 or 6-5 is one of these teams going to lose. So really a difference maker there. Luckbox up against Shake and Bake this week, and not an ideal spot for Jesse, but he could do it. He's got the heart of a champion within his loins for sure. So that'll be a difficult matchup there. Obviously, you're going to lean Luckbox. Even without Devonta Freeman and Greg Olsen, he needs those guys back for the playoffs, but will not have them this week. AB's Areola is eliminated here. However, we're all kind of rooting for him to get a win here because the Mighty Midgets are 6-5. So, Luke, make sure you update your team. And then Nathan Sucks Nuts up against Injury Bug, who Injury Bug did update his team a little bit last week. Played Devonta Foreman, who tore his ACL, scored 2 touchdowns. That was just kind of a weird spot for Houston running backs. And Nathan Sucks Nuts needs to win. And not only needs to win, but he is a team that actually has a decent amount of points. So if he can just kind of go off in one of his last 2 games, he's in a pretty good spot to maybe sneak in at 6-7. Because then in more matchups in Week 13, a lot of teams will be in do or die spots. I know I play Mr. Luckbox. We're going to have Make America Gronk again against Hide Your Children, so he probably needs a win this week. Shake and Bake Lollipop Guild going to be a big matchup there as well. So a lot of stuff to play for, guys. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Deuces.